I will start my speech on one, two, three. A country will develop and progress if individuals and organizations within the country also have thoughts and actions to move forward as well as it is. In this case, what we need now is a quality human resources, or in this case, human resources that want to recycle and developing themselves. Humans who want, who can, and will be thrive. Meanwhile, an individual or organization that chooses not to develop, not to recycle themselves, and does not want to advance the country should be punished or disbanded. Because basically, they are the burden of the state. They continue to whine and keep blaming the government, even though they themselves do not want to develop and cause a magnitude economic damage to a country. The community cannot continue to blame the government. An individual or organization cannot continue to blame the government if the individual or organization itself does not want to develop or hinder the development of the country. And an individual or organization cannot be justified and must be punished if he acts to inhibit others, either through actions or through words, or in this case, I mean as ideologic, that they are spread it out from their words. So, we from the government team agree and support the council because an individual or society that hinders the development of the country must be punished. So, what are individuals and organizations that are not growing, are not recycled themselves? So, I will define that undeveloped, unrecycled individuals and organizations are people who have certain problems and decide not to want to grow anymore or prevent others around them from growing. This certainly deserve the punishment from the government because this is made to be a criminal act because it causes economic damage in the long run. Note that even the individual or organization has economic or political problems, it is stupid and lazy if they still want to be in the problem and do not want to get out of the problem. In my speech, uh, in this speech, I will bring three mechanisms that I want to talk here. So I mean two mechanisms that I will discuss that individuals and organizations uh, that do not want to develop must be criminals. First, individuals and organizations that do not want to develop and prevent others from developing are the time bomb of the collapse of the country's economy. And then the second, governments cannot be blamed if an individual or an organization does not want to develop or does not want to recycle themselves. Okay, so first, individuals and organizations that do not want to develop and prevent others from developing are the time bombs of the collapse of the country's economy. A society or a community that does not want to develop first starts on a small scale, such as not being accepted in a job application or does not have the capital to develop. However, this becomes a significant problem if this pattern is repeated on a large scale, on a magnitude scale. It is not a lie that the desire not to grow can be contagious in every community's mind. It is like a virus. It is spread out in a magnitude scale. And this has become a very dangerous national problem for the country's economy. Here, we are not talking about one or two people who choose not to be unemployed, but thousands of different classes, from different social groups who choose not to be unemployed, or in this case, they don't want to recycle themselves. This is not the fault of the state because every individual and organization has the right to be free to develop or or be unemployed. But the problem here is that it is the states that gets such a big burden from the unemployed people. They blame the government, they blame the state, even if the truth is that it's their own fault. It is only a matter of time for a country's economy to collapse if success, action, and mindsets continue to develop in society. A country can quickly collapse if the people do not have permanent jobs, or in this case do not have sufficient resources to fulfill jobs. The state also cannot develop if certain elements carry out an anarchic actions by influencing others to not to developing themselves or not to recycle themselves. In this case, we can take the example of the FPI organizations. Uh, these organizations spread radical ideas that are against Pancasila or our Indonesian ideology. And of course, they spread radical ideas that against the government. The problem here is that there are thousands of people who follow this radical understanding and choose to join the FPI organization. Isn't this one of the examples that act of not progressing, the act of not recycling, not act of the not to choose the developing is a criminal, and this has become a ticking time bomb for the Republic of Indonesia, for our country, as well as for Afghanistan, which is 1 year ago allows patterns like the Taliban, Al Qaeda, or ISIS uh, to be progressed, and then because of that, they are spreading radical ideas. So it's just a matter of time for Indonesia to collapse as it is as Afghanistan right now. We see its economic if the desire not to develop remains. The second is the governments cannot be blamed if an organizations or an individual does not develop themselves. The government cannot be blamed if an individual or organization does not develop, because it is not the government's job to ensure that the individual or organization develops. The government job is not arbitrarily pressing someone in an office to work, but if the governments work with that way, for me, is just increase an act of corruption and nepotism, which we are or oppose that thing. Each individual and organization has been placed in their respective gradients with their respective potentials to develop. From there, the government will choose which individual has the most potential and suitable for developing the country. The task, the task of these individuals and organizations is only to take advantage to this potential to develop, not being unemployed, and, and blame the government. The government's task is only to provide regulatory provisions and ensure the implementation of human rights justice within the country. Economic development lies in the freedom of individuals and organizations to choose. However, these individuals and organizations will also be designated as criminal if they hinder the development of the country and threaten the existence of the development country from the economic, ideology, politics, or from social culture. Criminalizations here cannot be interpreted as a form of oppression, but as from that the individual organization is no longer in accordance with the current era. So the government will not place someone who is no longer worthy, or in this case no longer has the potential, because of in this case it hinders the development of the country. Therefore, everyone is required to develop and increase their potential. For example, a teacher, if it is the teacher who provides unqualified teaching to his or her students, then it will be definitely produce young people who are not qualified. Therefore, the teachers must be cancelled. So it should be remembered again that what is mean here is not a discrimination, but rather the time the state anticipates to transfer an individual or organization and has not potential anymore. So what we offer is an alternative form and solution. That alternative that can be given is for the government to be firm on dealing individuals and organizations that do not to develop but also provide fair punishment. Proud to propose.